And right now it is time for a fireside chat on how streaming platforms and OTT solutions are impacting gaming viewership. Yet another incredible topic in the summit today. Well, with this, we're joined by Cristian, the founder and CEO Aggero. We've got Yasin, Debhalia, the director, head of automation, Bidstack, and we also have Luke Woodley, the head of Esports APAC, Populous, joining us. Well, with this, I'd now like to humbly invite our speakers on the stage and screen. With this, it's all yours. Take it forth and have an incredible fireside chat.
Hello, everyone. My name is Luke Woodley. I'm the APAC Esports lead for Populous architecture firm. I'm here with Cristian from Ajiro and Yasin from Bidstack Group, and we're going to be pulling apart the topic, how streaming platforms and OTT solutions are impacting gaming viewership. Before we get started, it'd be great for both of you to introduce yourselves and tell us where your company fits into the esports ecosystem. Yasin, let's start with you.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for having me on this panel. My name is Yasin. I am head of automation at Bidstack. Bidstack is an advertising technology company that gives brands an end-to-end solution to put advertising into spaces that look and feel real life within video games across mobile, PC, and console. Essentially, what we're doing within esports and gaming is finding ways in which we can make advertising authentic and very native to whether it's being in a contextual game to a brand, or whether we're working with an esports team by sponsoring the esports team or positioning them within a particular game. And we're also working with industry partners to see how we can provide measurement and ROI and analytics all around this space as well. So kind of leading the forefront on that.
Yeah, fantastic. I had a quick look at the website and you can see some fantastic footage of really integrating into the games there. That's fantastic. And Cristian, how about you?
Hello, everyone. My name is Cristian. I'm the CEO and founder of Ajiro. Just quickly about my background, been involved in esports specifically for the past 18 years and gaming probably around 10, and mainly influencer marketing and sponsorships. So as here our panel colleague is doing in-game advertising, we are away from the game. So what Ajiro does in a single line, we are a B2B marketplace and SaaS solution for esports and gaming industry. We connect brands with audiences in a data-driven, scalable, and measurable way through large scale creators campaigns, team sponsorships, tournaments, and everything. So kind of a marketplace. And the second business model, we bring automation to the space, automating manual jobs for marketing teams from agency sides, brands, esports teams, to bring measurement, analytics, and optimization to the space, which we consider it's innovation. It's a new thing. Thank you so much for joining the panel today, guys. Really looking forward.
Yeah, fantastic. And look, I guess analytics and measurement in this space is a really important one. So, let's start to unpack that a little bit and talk about some of the pain points that you're actually trying to fix. Cristian, let's start with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm really excited to actually hear Yasin's perspective on this one. I believe that the biggest problem of esports and gaming, let's call in-stream advertising, social advertising, it's pure measurement and analytics. And we are seeing that the first big problem that even brands, they don't know about it because they are not educated around the space. They don't know how actually in-stream advertising should look like and how should be actually measured. We believe the first big problem is compliance. What does it mean? So a brand is spending money with an esports team, with an influencer, and they are buying advertising. And they can buy 3 types of ad units, right? You buy the display, logo, banners, carousels, whatever type of display. Then you buy voice. So we've seen that actually voice is one of the most powerful call to action and conversion rate driving factor in, again, to be very specific, away from the game type of advertising. And the last one is the text, traditional social, Twitch chat, Twitter, Instagram, social post, and so on. So compliance, what does it mean? Compliance is that we've seen that brands are not getting a good report if the, let's say, influencer or esports team are doing their proof of work. And the problem is you can't really track all of these things concurrently. Let's say if you have 100 hours of live stream, no one from a data analyst from an esports team, or let's say a talent manager from a talent agency, they are not going to go and watch 100 hours of live stream to save clips, to save moments, to save all of the proof of their work. It's not possible. And we've seen companies like Nielsen doing the logo detection with third-party solution, but that's not enough. And I have a, let's say, how do I say, a signal for the brands which are probably going to see this is, I don't believe Nielsen measurement is accurate because they don't track all the ad units, right? They just track the display, and you are missing, let's say, 30–40% of that. And the last one, which I would say, coming from the compliance, measurement, analytics, and of course, optimization, if you don't have an understanding from where the ROI is coming from, it's impossible to actually optimize. No one is doing live streaming optimization in our industry today, and it's well applied in marketing and digital for the past 10 years. The reason why I still believe it's pure because they can't track properly everything. And that would be my, hopefully my short answer. Yasin, to you.
I totally agree. And everything you're saying is truly on point. I fundamentally believe that there is an issue with tracking ads within the streaming environment. At Bidstack, we're trying to create a solution. You heard it here first around how we can do that. It goes beyond the Nielsen kind of tracking ads. There are a few businesses that we've been speaking to. Another one is Gum, and I believe they have a technology that basically, not so much in the esports realm. We have been talking about how they can do it for gaming.
Yeah.
But I know that they have something that tracks in the live kind of sports streaming environment and looking at where logo placement is placed and how much return on investment or value that the brand is getting from that. So there are people kind of doing it. And I guess, you know, we're kind of touching on the first iterations of what that looks like, but I don't think we've actually got something that works seamlessly or very well in esports at the moment. I think to kind of say something a bit different to what you've touched on, because what you touched on was fantastic, is I think there is ad fatigue that is happening within streaming and particularly when it comes to traditional sports and now moving into esports as well, right? So, you know, the most watched events in the world is like the Olympics and also the World Cup. And I think they hold their audiences very well. But interestingly, and I mentioned this on another panel that I'm on throughout this event, is around the Super Bowl, which actually is notoriously known for bringing in these huge audiences worldwide, but actually it's lost its viewership for the first time in like 15 years. And I think there's two things around that. I think the first thing is that obviously there are a younger audience now that are shifting away from kind of traditional sports and watching traditional sports and actually now moving into a more of a digital first point of view and actually now playing the more gamified version, whereas before people would go from the traditional sport and that was their then entry point into the gamified version. But I think like ad spots in the NFL are actually now putting people off and driving people to watch a different way or a different have a different perspective of what they're going to do when it comes to streaming. Ad spots in the NFL can cost up to like $5 million, right? And they make around 8 billion a year from that. But I think what they'll start to see is an impact in that because they'll need to start thinking of new ways in which that they can monetize that, because people are becoming so frustrated with actually the ad breaks because they are extremely long and there's no exchange value as well when it comes to people actually watching that. So you'll start to see these new kind of streaming platforms that are trying to find new ways. And actually that problem becomes an opportunity, because what we'll start to see is how can these new streaming platforms, you know, combat this ad fatigue by providing an exchange value to people watching streaming platforms, watching esports. I know that there's one platform that kind of does it at the moment. I think they're called Fruit Lab, I believe, which actually offers like some sort of cryptocurrency as a value for actually watching. Ubisoft does it as well with some of their games. If you play and watch some of their games, and they'll give you their form of currency back into the game, so you can exchange that for, you know, downloadable content. So, you know, some people we're starting to touch now, like how can we actually provide something that's a bit more authentic to gamers, because they're very passionate about the game that they're playing. You don't want to then take it away from them by, you know, shoving ads in the most, you know, irrelevant and not in an unpurposeful way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just touch on there is you're absolutely right. It's a lot of the, say, the sporting advertisers, they're not touching, and they haven't really evolved. So in terms of how the sport is actually broadcasting and how they're engaging with their consumers, they're not going onto a platform where they can talk to each other and discuss. And until it evolves, it's going to be difficult to do that. I think another one is Theta, which you can get crypto as you watch. It's just a fantastic way that it brings the audience into that space. Sorry, Cristian?
Yeah, no, I was just saying, just touching to that point as well. We are seeing also a wave of this playing the games and getting the tokens like in-game currency. And there is also a company called ZBD. I don't know if you guys heard about it. And basically, you play CS:GO and you earn Bitcoin. You know, which is fantastic, right? It's just creating a new sharing economy. And I was just looking at Axie Infinity, and that probably could be very interesting for the authentic in-game type of advertising to monetize, right? So they can bring more revenue in creating a bigger sharing economy. It's a game called Axie Infinity. Which probably everyone heard about it, as there is all over the news as people are quitting their jobs at McDonald's to actually play the game because they earn more money by playing the game versus just working at McDonald's. But I do have a question for Yasin related to the measurement side and to this topic, if you may. Yasin, when you guys are doing the in-game advertising, is that in a way broadcasted to live stream in certain ways, you know, certain creators playing or something like that, or is just pure the players which are playing in game are seeing that? Assuming if some of them are like creators, right, and streamers and playing that particular game, that will be actually displayed in the live stream, right?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. So thank you for that. So it's twofold here. So the first thing is our measurement is purely around in-game advertising. So wherever we have our SDK integrated, our technology integrated into the game, we're able to take measurement in the same way that we do with standard display advertising, right? So we're able to measure not necessarily clicks, because in-game advertising, the premise of it is supposed to be non-clickable because it's native to the game. So it is very much brand led. However, we can measure things like viewability. So, you know, we take into consideration a 3D perspective. Viewability is very 2D when you look at display advertising and video. So we look at the angle of the ad, how much percentage of the screen it's taking up. We call that screen occupancy, how long the ad has been in view, and all of these different things kind of calculate to a score. And we have a threshold that we say the ad needs to be in view of this screen occupancy, of this angle, for actually to be classed as a viewable impression. So we're measuring all these different factors when it comes to the in-game advertising itself, but there are certain sponsorships, certain opportunities that we sell that we know naturally would be also streamed on platforms like Twitch, or content will be uploaded onto things like YouTube. So we work with a various number of esports teams who have their shirts within FIFA, and we sell that sponsorship for the kit. So we first of all get the analytics for the in-game element, how many people have actually downloaded and used the kit, how many players have done that, but also then we need to measure the secondary audience, which is how many people are watching from a streaming platform of A, the team playing in an esports tournament and wearing the kit, or B, how many people are actually watching just in general of people playing with the kit as well. And we're actually at the moment reliant upon the streaming platforms analytics to give us the data, which is just usually views or hours. We actually don't have anything yet, which is something that I can say we're working on, that actually measures actual brand in the same way as viewability in our in-game away from the game.
Yeah, we should chat separately on that side, right?
Well, this is being a panel, and it's networking, right?
Yeah. So another just question to that particular topic, and then I'm handling to you, Luke, to continue with the agenda. How you guys are doing, and I will answer on our side as well. How is do you guys get any data related to the players in game, personal data or something like that, at least the demographics or any type of data of the audiences, let's call them audiences, but the players which are seeing the in-game ads, right? Because at least on our side, that's actually a problem because of the platforms itself. So Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, no one is going to give to you the demographics data of the audience who watched the stream. You know, it's just some purely basic reach, viewership statistics and viewership data. So how do you guys look at from that perspective?
Yeah, so from a demographic point of view, it really depends on what the game developer or the publisher is actually collecting themselves, and they actually can then pass that back to us. We do incentivize publishers to do that because if you are able to target based on a demographic, based on data points, even though it's becoming a little bit more difficult to do so, it actually warrants a higher value. So you can charge a higher CPM, you can charge a higher budget for that. Therefore, it is definitely more beneficial for publishers to collect that data from their users. If they don't, then obviously we have to adhere to kind of more contextual environments. But our technology is designed to basically do things like targeting via geo, targeting via time of day, or the day of the week. So for example, if you're a delivery company and you want to target, certain promotions for dinner versus certain promotions for breakfast, these are the things that they can do with our technology that they wouldn't be able to do without us. So it's fundamentally important that actually we do kind of get this data from the publisher. There are certain things that are very unique to the publisher as well. So for example, if you're looking at a football manager, they're able to target based on certain stadiums. So if a brand only wants to target Premier League stadiums, then we can do that via our technology as well. The one thing that the benefit of our technology that we can do, which I think a lot of game developers struggle on their own, and we provide the analytics to them, is all around session play, which is very unique, right? So we're able to understand how long an average session would be, how many sessions per day, how many sessions per week. And we're able to use that as analytics in order to identify, well, how many ads need to be shown to this person? Are we bombarding them with ads? Are we showing them the right amount? Like, it kind of formulates like the ad equation, and also it kind of gives us more insights into for the advertiser, like, what is the behavior of that player, because you'll have someone that plays a Candy Crush that might just play once a week compared to someone who plays a Football Manager that plays every single day. And those two people are very different, and you have to treat them very different from an advertising perspective as well.
Yeah, you are describing kind of the same solution for in-stream. It's just, in-game and in-stream. And I think the problem with in-stream, what we are doing, it's because you do rely on third-party platforms like Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and so on. And sometimes, what it happened with GDPR and everything, it was a little bit trickier for us. So it took us probably 2.5 years to develop the right technology in order to make it work and, in a way, match the traditional media advertiser standards, because you need to speak their language if you want to get the budgets. Otherwise, you are going to sit down and spend 6 to 9 months and try to convince them, hey, this is a cool new growing audience. It's your next generation of consumer. Luke, to you.
Look, I guess let's continue down that path, because I think it's a really interesting topic that we're talking about with, where it's Twitch or going Facebook Live. They are a bit of a barrier in terms of how much data that you can collect, so that you can make sure you're giving that to brands, because ultimately brands have their eyes on esports and gaming, but the more they can see, and especially, Yasin, when you're talking about screen occupancy, where they're seeing really what opportunity there is and how much it is, and calculate that's fantastic. But for you guys at the moment, is it really those platforms that are creating a bit of a barrier for you guys to really enhance that opportunity?
I mean, I can take that first if you want, but
Go for it. Yeah,
definitely, for sure. It's no secret that these platforms, these particularly the we call them the big four, they are massive walled gardens. So the sense that it's a walled garden, from the sense that you can't, anything external finds it really hard to plug into. So if you have third-party measurement, third-party verification, whatever, to get that into Facebook or to get that into the Twitch platform, it's virtually impossible unless like they lower the barrier and let you in. So I wouldn't say that they kind of play well with the wider ecosystem. they do dominate, and a lot of the audience is there, and that's how they have that power, and that's why a lot of brands go there. But in the same way you can't get in, they don't let anything out either. So the analytics, the data you get from them is all very limited, and I think it all plays well to them. And you can't verify third party. They mark their own homework, and that's just that's how it is, and you have to deal with it because the eyeballs are there. So I do welcome new streaming platforms, new platforms that are going to compete, because I feel like it's going to be more of an open ecosystem. It's going to be more fair. And I think there's more opportunity.
Yeah, totally subscribe to this. We fixed it, but it took us focusing 2.5 years, right, to make it work, to have this third-party verification, unique system and measurement. And now we can do optimization, which is purely unique in the space. But as Yasin is saying, it's a cat and mouse, like it's so hard. We are seeing problems every day. But fortunately for us, and unfortunately for the ecosystem, totally agree, we managed to come up with a solution that works extremely well. The big problem is that we are seeing is that how the money are flowing into the space. So let's say if you are a huge brand, basically you spend a very tiny 1% of your 0.1% of your advertising budget, which is nothing compared to traditional media. And basically what you do, you just go and buy CPM on Twitch, which I believe it's a huge mistake. Those CPM's impression doesn't convert, and 70% of the audience are using ad blockers. So buying a pre-roll which comes on an ad blocker, it's such a huge mistake. And I blame it, of course, on the brands not doing their homework, and they just want to do it because it's hot, and they want to do it fast. And I blame it on agencies, because agencies are here to take the money quickly and spend them. They are not here to really protect the money of the brand and make optimization or returns or something like that. And I was chatting with a huge agency in New York a year back, and they were saying, global GlaxoSmithKline, which is a huge, pharma company, they will spend a 7 figures budget in gaming and esports campaigns. And they said, we just buy on Twitch the CPM, and that's it. And we will be getting some free influencer marketing part of the deal. I asked them, okay, but can you get the proof that the influencers are doing what you are paying them to do? Because Twitch can't give you the proof of the work. You have to do the manual work, and you can't track so many hours. But let's say if the campaign is not going well, right? You have a 3 months of campaign, but the first month is not going well. How can you optimize that if you have no understanding? What's the ad unit which is not performing well? Is the display, it's Twitch, it's the text, it's what? The voice. And they're like, yeah, we don't know, we don't care. And, we just need to spend their money. And I believe from this perspective, it's a super early market. I think it's going to take a lot of education and probably a few years until brands will really open their eyes and spend this money, let's say data-driven, by the book, measurable, and so on. And on the last time optimization, which again, I'm stressing out on this side, because I believe it's the golden egg of any brand. Like any brand would want to optimize their ROI, right? That would be stupid not to do that. But I believe that even if optimization wording, it's really simple to discuss about, it's really hard to understand and really hard to see. As Yasin was saying, when you want to put an ad, why this ad is not performing well, is the same on in streaming. If you talk about, let's say we are starting a live streaming today, and I'm a ninja and streaming for 6 hours. And after 3 hours after I started the live stream, I'm saying, Adidas is such a cool, they just released the new cool t-shirt, go and buy it. Maybe you have 10,000 people watching you, but then 1 hour later, you have 30,000 people watching you. So there is no way with analytics from Twitch to really understand how you can actually make a better ad or a better, to make a better impact and actually convert to maybe click-through rate, e-commerce sales. This is not about just impressions, right? It can be a digital clickable funnel on that side. So yeah, that would be my my 2 cents, let's say, on the topic.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah, Yasin.
I was going to say, just to add on that, like I totally agree with what you're saying, Cristian, around the agencies. And I guess they've notoriously been known for being a little bit lazy in terms of you present new opportunities to them, but they already know what they've done before and they think it works well, so they just kind of invest in it. And obviously I remember there's a famous quote, and I can't remember who it was by, but like half of ad spend, they don't know whether it is working or not. So when they're doing so much in a wider marketing mix and they're throwing at it, they're thinking it's working, but they're just actually, it's, you know, this is just the bread and butter. They know it spends well. They know they're going to get some sort of, you know, clawback from that, or some sort of, you know, rebate. They know that they can get really preferential rates and the money's going to spend, and the client's going to be happy in the end because they can sell it back to the client, and happy days, and they'll continue to keep that account. But I feel like the opportunity of gaming is that it's so new at the moment, that the opportunity really for us, being, you know, at the people at the forefront of this industry right now who are trying to pave the way for advertisers, is that we have a responsibility to make sure that we educate right now the importance of being authentic, being really native to the gaming audience and to gaming environments, to make sure that we don't do the things that some other media channels probably made the mistake with before, like even social media. I mentioned this before, like I said on another panel, with social media, the problem that we had before when brands were trying to resonate with audiences on social media by using influencers was it wasn't authentic. And I think they've got a lot better at it now. But I remember it was like they were trying to plug products with people that you just know they weren't going to necessarily use them. And the commentary didn't look very good. And people, you would see in the comments like, this is rubbish, no one's going to use this. And I think there was a problem of like, you know, that's where the kind of the diet pill problem came from, right? Which was all led by social media. That's the problem we don't want to make with gaming, because what you'll do is you will just annoy gamers, and you will force them off the game. they'll look away from it, and actually you'll have the opposite effect which a brand want, which is that the brand just purely wants brand affinity. There are some really good examples in which ways, like, you know, some brands have been really authentic to the gaming environment. Like, I think my favorite one has to be, and not many people kind of know about it, the one I kind of celebrate is when Tommy Hilfiger launched their full collection in Animal Crossing. They know exactly what they were doing, because they know the audience of Animal Crossing is going to be more female-led. It's going to be someone who's going to be interested in fashion. The Travis Scott astronomical event in Fortnite was phenomenal, right? What number can you get in a gaming environment? 12 million people to watch a live event that just lasted 15 minutes long. And actually it was just an ad for Nike. He was wearing Air Jordans, and the Air Jordans sold out. These are ways in which you can do it, but we have to keep making sure we replicate that model in a way that brands are actually finding an identity within gaming, finding an identity with metaverse, and not just going, okay, here's a streaming platform, let's just slap an ad in the front of it. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, 100%. That's why to subscribe, buying media on Twitch doesn't work. You know, buying pre-rolls on Twitch, buying an influencer, buying an in-game works, because an influencer, it's authentic. You know, you're actually supporting the person. And what we've seen, the opportunity, and this is another point that I love to touch together on the topic, the opportunity for these brands, from our perspective. What is really important to know in stream advertising and working with creators or team sponsorships or something like that, you are actually, it's a psychology sponsorship. This is what we've seen. The conversions are very high because how the gamers and the audiences are thinking about an ad in the brand sponsored content, right? Because think about, if I'm a ninja and I'm streaming and you have 50,000 people watching you live, those guys love me. They're so engaged. If I am building tomorrow, I don't know, new clothing line, probably I'm going to sold out, right? As Yasin just explained the Nike example with Travis Scott in Fortnite, right? That was huge sales, and majority of them probably were the audience of that particular event, right? Related to that, we've seen that conversion rates using creators in live streams and so on is probably 15-25% as an average range, versus if you look at the Google AdWords or something like that, it's what, 1.5, 2.55%. It's already a huge conversion rate. So I believe as an opportunity, you know, brands will have to understand why this converts better versus other channels, you know, and this is pure psychology and how engaged its fans are with their creators and teams. On your side, Yasin, I'm just super curious, you know, how that works.
So we'll just jump in and say that we've probably got a few minutes left. Yeah. But like absolutely, you know, continue down the path of the fact that influencers aren't probably the direct source for what we've got here, and it's really being smart about what the metaverse can do, what the gaming can do. So just as you go on, Yasin, just kind of wrap up as well to kind of any last thoughts you have around the impact towards the gaming viewership.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I kind of touched on this before at the beginning, but I think there's a massive opportunity to be really authentic for brands in this space, to be contextual to the environment, because I'll say it again, ad fatigue is a massive issue that we're facing across, not just in gaming, but across multiple media channels. I think gaming has a massive opportunity to claw that back, simply because it's such an engaging environment, and people are so passionate as well about the games that they play and the streams they watch and the esports that they participate in. So this is a fundamental way that we can align with influencers that are relevant to certain brands, to make sure that we take the lead of the influencer if we're aligning with them, because we know that they know their audience, they've built up that community, it's going to work for them. If we're using streaming platforms, to make sure that we're finding new and innovative ways to actually put the ads in those spaces. And of course, using a 360 holistic environment of using in-game advertising, that's going to be streamed as well. But the fundamental thing, which I know Cristian's going to touch on now, is around making sure we measure this and we provide ROI, because that's going to lead to success, and brands are then going to come back. And obviously brands have the money, and that's going to push streaming platforms forward. Streaming platforms won't exist without budget behind it. So we have to make sure of that, both from the audience, the platforms, the advertisers, all have to work harmoniously. And I think we have right now, in this early stage, while we're building this out, a massive opportunity to really get it right.
100% subscribe. And yeah, brands education, man. I'm with you. It has to be a few more years, until they get it right. But thank you so much, everyone. Luke, do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, thank you both for speaking on the little session we've got here. Look, I guess reach out to both of you if you're interested in the topics, and yeah, spread the word of making sure that we're giving out that education to the industry and also to brands about what the opportunities are, but also understanding what the opportunities are for the next level when also streaming platforms give you that availability to the data. So thank you very much, and look forward to meeting everyone on the outside world.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Cheers. Bye-bye.